Hey guys, my name is Coach Eric. I'm your host for part 2 of Krav Maga's hierarchy, self-defense. This, my partner today, Coach Gio. All right, step 1, part 1, was mindset. Talking about acknowledging that evil exists. It's out there. You can't control them, but you can control you. Step 2 of part 1 being acknowledging that and then mentally preparing yourself and talking through those scenarios. And then the third part of that being to work on your physicality. So now we're going to work on our physicality. But if I am going to strike, if I'm going to hit, if I'm going to punch, if I'm going to kick, then I need to do it aggressively. So step 2 is kind of 2 parts. Aggressive striking. Really, really, really aggressive striking. There's kind of a couple ways to think of it. One is strike to the point at which this person is so incapacitated that they can't chase you down. It doesn't mean kill. A lot of people, when they hear law enforcement, they say, well, why did you shoot him in the chest? Or why did you shoot him in the face? Law enforcement don't aim for anything particular other than the largest target that presents itself. And we don't shoot to kill, we shoot to stop. If the head happens to be the only thing that's presented, well, the result might be death. If the chest happens to be the only thing that's presented, the result might be death. But the objective of shooting is to stop the threat. So my objective of striking, if I cannot use step 1 of the pyramid to avoid the fight, and I'm now in it, my objective is to stop the threat. Another way to look at it, and I'll steal this from Coach Cheryl, is be more trouble than you are worth. Now there are 2 general types of criminals if I'm going to paint with broad strokes. One is the opportunist, somebody looking for something this person has to continue a criminal habit, or perhaps I just happen to be somebody down on my luck, struggling to make things work, and by stealing his car, I might be able to sell it, and with that money, I might be able to buy food for my kids. And I try very hard to understand why somebody may be motivated to commit crime. So you have somebody that had 2 roads to walk and they just walked down that path that led to criminal activity. The second type of criminal would be a sociopath. That's like Hitler. There's no reasoning with this person. Now this person could be randomly killing people, right? Like a serial murderer, or could be targeting you for some unknown reason. So these are kind of our types of criminals. But that person that's looking to rob you, that person that's randomly committing an act of violence or crime or aggression, they don't want trouble. It's true. They don't want to get caught. Most of the chases that I've been in, let me step back here. Most of the fights that I have been in as a police officer, the person wasn't actively fighting me. They were trying to get away. They didn't want to kill a police officer. They didn't want to punch a police officer. They just didn't want to go to jail. So in self-defense, if we're playing roulette, what are the odds? What type of person are you going to encounter? If, low percentage, depending on where you live, you actually ended up in an aggressive encounter, this person likely wants something of yours, and if you gave it to them, they'd probably let you go. Now, if they wanted something more aggressively and it ended up being violent, and you became trouble for them, they would probably let you go because they don't want to be arrested. Now, again, I'm painting with broad strokes, but this is the odds if we're playing the odds. So, how do I be more trouble than I'm worth? Well, strike hard, strike fast, strike with the closest weapon that I have to the closest target on that person. Hard, fast, closest weapon, closest target. Those are my principles for self-defense striking. Come a little bit closer, Gio. He's a little worried. I haven't hit anybody yet. All right, let's talk about what weapons I have. I have my forehead, like I would be heading a soccer ball. I have my elbows. I have my fists, the top of my fist, my knuckles, my palm. I have my knees and my kicks. We're going to break all of those down for you in the next couple of lessons. Okay? I'm going to start with my palm strike. My hand is open, I rotate my body, and I strike through his face. Why through his face? I want to be more trouble than I'm worth. I'd rather hit him once than have to hit him twice. I rotate my body as hard as I can, like there is a laser from my chin to his chin, straight line through his face, recoiling back. Another way I like to teach this is when you were a kid, at least in the 80s, you had mittens. And these mittens had a string that went from one mitten to the other, so you didn't lose them, and they went through your jacket. Well, if somebody pulled this mitten, they'd punch themselves in the face with the other hand. Well, I have a string connecting my two hands, and as this one rotates, this one comes back towards my face. As I now punch with this hand, the hand that was forward, is now coming back to my face. And I am rotating my body to generate power from the ground. I find it best to look at this to a pad. Gio, if you'd grab a pad for me. Sure. Guys, it's awesome to have a pad. It's awesome to have a training partner. Awesome to do this at home. Remember, the very first step to self-defense is mindset, visualization. You can strike to the air and you can make yourself substantially safer. But if you have a pad or a local studio, I definitely recommend that. All right, guys, let's show the palm strike. This side. This side. Okay. Great stress reliever. I am in a good fighting stance. We will cover the fighting stance, but when it comes to what's important, what's the hierarchy to learn, stance comes after striking. It's because I'm playing roulette. If I only had one lesson, you only had one opportunity to learn from me, and I could teach you how to move or how to take your palm and using your animal instinct, the aggression that you've got in you through evolution, and say, take your palm, pull your fingers back, take your palm, and as hard as you can, rotate your body. Send your palm through this person's face and pull it back. To do it again, I would rather teach you that part first. Because naturally, you'll probably put your dominant side back. That's how you get more power. They have a thing called a haymaker punch. Great scene in a movie. You can put that down, Gio. Great scene in a movie. Back to the Future. It's the, hey you, get your damn hands off her punch. I get really mad. At the end of the movie, there's a scene where the principal actor's father is about to break up what's essentially going to be a rape or a sexual assault. And he's bent over this way, and he balls up his fist, and he gets all of this emotion in him, and he swings as hard as he can for the fences. That is a punch that we all have in us naturally. It's very, very aggressive, animal instinctive punch. Well, I want you to do that, but I don't want you to do it with a closed fist. Now, a closed fist is great, and if you do it, and it's the only punch you throw, it's not the end of the world, but I don't want you to break your wrist. You can generate as much, and in some cases, more power with an open hand. We're just going to make sure that what hits that person is the base of my palm. We call this a palm heel strike. Drive from the ground, rotating as hard as you can. Take your palm, throw it through this person's face, and pull it back to yours. I'm going to pull out onto the mats another instructor who's not quite as big as I am, not that I am that big, and she's going to show you how to do this with a fair amount of power despite being much more petite than I am. Cheryl, can you come out for me? Joe, you can pick that pad back up again. Sir. Cheryl, when you're ready. Good. And from the other side, let's see it again. I like seeing Gio's face grimace. Time. Great job. Come back around for me. On here for me, Cheryl. All right, guys. She's rotating her body. If she had to punch for her life, the one punch that she got, as a righty, what hand would it be?
Right.
All right? Instinctively, you're probably going to do the same thing. Hand is up by her face. Why do we want him up by her face? We want her to defend her face, protect her face if anything's coming towards her. She rotates her body. She drives from the ground. She strikes through the pad and brings it right back to her face. Drop that pad for me, Gio. On Gio, we want to target weak points. That would be the eyes, the nose, the throat, the groin. With a palm strike, we're going to be aiming probably towards the face. She's going to aim for that nose or the chin, tilt his head back. When she tilts his head back, by the way, as you get further and further along into self-defense and you have more strikes, there's now other things that she can do that become more open and available because she has worked through the palm heel strike. Okay, guys, that is our palm heel strike lesson, and stay tuned for the next. We're just going to make sure that what hits that person is the base of my palm. We call this a palm heel strike. Drive from the ground, rotating as hard as you can. Take your palm, throw it through this person's face, and pull it back to yours.